The Druze of southern Syria were very loyal to the Assad regime, which ruled there for most of the last several decades. When that regime was overthrown last December by a coalition of Sunni jihadist groups led by HTS and their chieftain Abu Muhammad al-Julani, many members of Syria's non-Sunni minority groups were very nervous. That nervousness proved to be well-founded, as al-Julani's forces have carried out a campaign of harassment against these minorities, sometimes boiling over into murderous violence. This was the case in March when Alawite tribes in the coastal plain were violently attacked by the regime, and now last week, clashes broke out between Druze residents of Sweida and some of their Sunni Bedouin neighbors. These clashes continued for several days and included massacres of entire Druze families as well as Christian communities in the area. Now, finally, the regime in Damascus said it was sending in forces to break up the fighting. But instead of being a neutral police force breaking up a fight, many of these forces actively joined the Bedouin gangs in attacking the Druze. Seeing this, the Druze community here in Israel demanded that the IDF intervene to save their brethren across the border. But the Israeli government had some very excellent reasons for hesitating. To start with, the Trump administration in the United States has taken several steps to try and entice the al-Julani regime to become an ally of the West, and it seemed to be working. Now, large deals have recently been signed with Western firms with financing coming from the UAE and Saudi Arabia to repair the damage to Syria's infrastructure from the long civil war. The hope was, and still is, that Syria could rise from the ashes, boom economically, entice large numbers of Syrian refugees currently living in Europe and Turkey to return home. But the biggest strategic prize from America and Europe's point of view was the hope that Syria would flip from being an ally of Iran, to a lesser degree Russia, to being an enemy of Iran, who was also much less friendly towards Moscow. Once again, this big plan was beginning to show signs of coming together, and al-Julani has even made some remarks which indicate that he'd be interested in joining the Abraham Accords and normalizing relations with Israel. But then, these clashes put all of that in jeopardy. And if you understand all that, you understand why Israel did not immediately send the IDF rolling across the border to defend the Druze of Sweida, as obvious as the moral imperative to do so seemed to be.